Hi there, I'm Budda and you're watching Dr. Guitar, a show for all you guitarists out there. In today's episode, I'm going to approach a concept and to try to explain to you the difference between a clean boost, an overdrive, a distortion, and a fuzz pedal. When I started playing guitar, it was really not clear to me what the difference was between a clean boost or a distortion or an overdrive or fuzz. It all sounded like distortion to me, and I didn't even know the difference between all those three effects and what I needed. So this episode is made to try to make it clear to you what kind of pedal are you looking for and what kind of boost do you need. I always use a lot of gain stages in my pedal boards, so I have a lot of different gains, sometimes not that different, but a little different flavor one from each other to get different aspects of my tone. So we have a huge pedal collection here. It will be a long video. I picked up 3 pedals from each class so I can explain the class in itself, because even within the same class, so even within clean boost or within overdrives or within distortion or within fuzzes, there are a lot of nuances. So there's a lot of things to cover. It's not meant to be the ultimate shootout of pedals, of guitar pedals. It's just meant to explain the differences of a clean boost, an overdrive, a distortion, and a fuzz. I want to give a big shout out to my patrons, Daniel Hodges, Rui Grillo, and Phil Preston. Thank you so much. If you want to become a patron and support the show, just visit my Patreon page. You can also support the channel by donating through PayPal. It's in here. Just go to this link and donate whatever you want. Also, if you want to have some guitar lessons with me via Skype, just send me a direct message on Instagram or Facebook. Don't forget to subscribe to the YouTube channel and to give it a thumbs up. It's very important if you like the episode. On the clean boost section, I bring you a classic of classics, the EP Boost Xotic pedals. And I bring two boutique pedals. One is made by Jupiter Effects. It's called the Jive. It's a great clean boost, but it can distort a little. It's based on a tape saturation. It's a great pedal, as all Jupiter Effects are actually, and beautiful. And I got another great manufacturer from Denmark, Russ Electronics, Russ Effects. I got the B.O.M.B, B.O.M.B, another clean boost. Then on the overdrive section, I got another Russ Effects pedal, double standard distortion, which, although it's called distortion, to me it sounds more like an overdrive. We'll explain it, we'll go through it. It's a double pedal, which I love, as you know, and it's made in Denmark too, another boutique pedal. Then two classics, the King of Tone, one of the best overdrives out there, and the classic of classics, the Tube Screamer. On the distortion side of things, it's where things are a little hard for me to pick. I don't usually like distortion that much, but I have 3 pedals too. I have the Fulltone Catelyst, Fulltone Catelyst, MXR Distortion Plus. This was the pedal that started all the distortion thing, although it's overdrive-ish, but we'll get there. And my favorites, the Gem Pedals Rattler, based on the Rat, but man, what a pedal. And I got my own signature one. It's not signature, but it's signed for me. This beautiful enclosure and steampunk design. Yeah, so great. Signed for me. I'm so proud to have this one. Finally, on the fuzz section, we have 3 fuzzes, of course. Another Russ Effect, so Russ is killing it in this realm. The Compenhagen Fuzz, which is a tone bender, Mark 1.5, my favorite fuzz at the moment. I love this pedal, the way it interacts. Russ also has this purple phase, which is also a great fuzz face pedal. I have the Jam Pedals fuzz face pedal and the Red Noise Stone Blender. So actually 3 boutique pedals. I only have boutique fuzzes, but they all are different. So it's a fuzz face, a tone bender, and kind of a big muff. Today I'm playing through my Nags Chop Tank, the maple one with vibrato. I love this guitar, it's so versatile. It's my main guitar. And I'm playing in stereo, well, not in stereo, but in a 2-amp setup with my Blues Junior and the Mesa Boogie Transatlantic, all going into the Zoom H6 recorder. Here's the clean tone. So I have both amps with a little reverb, a little spring reverb from the amp, and then we are going through with the boosters. So I have the set at no special order. EP booster is one of the classics. It has some dip switches, mine is factory, and here's the clean amp with the EP booster. The B.O.M.B. and the Jive. So what is a clean boost? Actually, a clean boost just makes your tone louder, and depending on the amp settings, it's very transparent. None of these are very transparent. So the EP booster has a little brightness into it, and it's a little scoop basically. So it has a lot of bottom end, a lot of treble, which makes it cut through the mix, but it also fattens up the tone. A clean boost is usually wanted when you want to turn yourself up, when you want to be louder, or when you already have an overdriven amp, which is not the case, but you want to overdrive it a little more. You want to push it a little more. But you don't want a coloration, you just want a little more volume. It's as if your guitar was hotter, as if you're putting more sound out of your guitar. So that's when a clean boost is desired. The EP booster has some different inside deep switches to make it sound darker or brighter. I like it like this. It makes the tone cut a little. As you noticed, my EP booster is at minimum, but even minimum, you already get a gain boost out of it. So let's tweak it a little. And since I'm playing tube amps on the edge of breaking up, the minute I start to push the volume on the booster, on any of the clean boosters, the amps will distort. So the distortion you're hearing is not from the pedal, but it's making the amp distort. It's a great way of having a tube amp at home and crank it. It's like adding another gain stage to your amp. Crank it and then lower the master volume of the amp. So let's go through it. The EP booster is based on the Echoplex tape delay boost or preamp. So the tape delay, the Echoplex had a preamp on it, and people like Jimmy Page, Richard Blackmore used, I believe it was an Akai, but it was kind of the same thing. So they used the boost on the delay. They didn't use the delay, used the boost to push the amps and to get more distortion out of a plexi. The B.O.M.B. Turn it to minimum. It immediately makes your guitar a little brighter. It changes the impedance for sure. So you get the confusion. It sounds like a distortion. It's not actually the preamp or the boost that is distorting. It's the amp that can't handle, and you're pushing the preamp tube way harder. So it's kind of pushing the gain on the amp. It's another gain stage. Then the Jive is a way more complex because it has 3 different clipping modes. They all sound different. You can combine them, but let's use them with the clipping off. So it's volume and gain. It's a great way of clipping tone without getting to the amp, so it's acting as an overdrive. Let's see what the clipping does, so pushing the gain the most possible. So you hear this gets ruined. I'm having an idea. If this is already dying because it's clipping too hard, let's just push it with the B.O.M.B to see what happens. Another gain stage pushing the clean boost. So I'm getting distortion out of clean boosts. Great. Although the Jive is not really a clean boost, but let's hear the other preamp, the other saturation. So the Jive gets into the drive-ish territory because it can overdrive itself. And you know it's overdriving because I can lower the volume and I still have drive. So it means the drive is produced within the pedal. Great boosts, great pedal as always. Jupiter effects are incredible. The other two are kind of normal boosts. It's what they do. So if you have a good basic tone, a good overdriven tone, it's a great pedal to have at the end of your signal chain to boost it up and to give you a solo level. So for example, if you're playing and you want to be loud in the solo, just push the clean boost and it's done. Or you can use it, as I showed you, to clip another drive and to make it more compressed, more overdriven. Let's move on to the overdrive pedals. An overdrive pedal is kind of the clean boost, but with a character. So it has an EQ curve, it has a tone, it has different mid-range possibilities, it has some filtering, and I have here 3 great examples, being the double standard, a double overdrive. So it's actually, I have 4 overdrives here. The classic one is the Tube Screamer, and it is known for tightening up the bottom end. So it cuts a little of the bass, it cuts a little of the highs, it boosts the mid-range. It's a great pedal to make you sound louder in the mix and more perceivable, but it changes your tone a lot. Personally, I'm tired of Tube Screamers. They change the tone a lot, but they do their job really well. So it's kind of a love and hate relationship. Clean tone of the amp. And the Tube Screamer is the Strat's best friend. It sounds great. It sounds like it's the kind of the first overdrive. It's the overdrive. It's the one everybody copies, everybody mimics. Not really my thing, but for the Stevie Ray-ish kind of thing, it's just difficult to beat. We can darken it a lot, of course. And it works great with scooped amps like the Fender amps. It's a great Fender friend, the Tube Screamer. The King of Tone is one of the most famous, one of the most coveted. I have two King of Tones. Yeah, I'm very blessed. The orange things on this King of Tone are just rubber things I put to avoid moving the knobs accidentally. This King of Tone is actually on my flyboard, so it's a Pedal Train Junior. It's one of the boosts. It has 4 jacks, which allows me to have the right side of the Tube Screamer of the King of Tone going into one of the loops of the Boss ES5, and then my last pedal in the chain is the left side of the King of Tone. It's a pedal I have in case I want to make it louder. It's kind of my clean boost, so it's set of overdrive clean boost, kind of. So let's hear the overdrive section. Let's compare it to the Tube Screamer. It's fatter. They are kind of the same thing, but the Tube Screamer has a mid-range and it speaks even more when it's recorded through loud amps. They are loud for the room. It's hard to listen here in the room, but it is what it is. Let's not complain of being home in this quarantine. The double standard is a little different from the rest because it has 2 sides. So these 3 knobs are for this side and these 3 knobs are for this side. One is they are germanium based and they have different characteristics. So let's hear the blue lead side. and the tone actually works reverse. So here it's the brightest setting, here it's the darkest setting. Great pedal. And the other side. See how anemic the tone gets when I don't play the with the double standard. It's the 32, it's kind of almost non-distorting, but it's giving it some magic. And changing the tone a lot. Let's give it some more drive. And now both on. So since it's germanium, I think it's because of that. It's a little more towards the fuzz territory, but it's still clear, articulate. So that's the thing about Overdrive. Overdrive is a little gainier, but it compresses your tone. It gives you some more sustain, some more drive, but it's not shuggy distortion like Metallica distortion. Or it's not heavy, heavy, heavy. It's not Muse. It's a little, it simulates the amp breaking up a little. So it's kind of in that verge of almost clean tone. So the King of Tone is great for that. If you play gentle, it's a clean tone. If you dig in, it's a drive. You hear how the note changes the sustain and the feel. It makes you play easier. So I always have an overdrive this kind. I always have one like this. In my main board, that overdrive is the broadcast on its first channel. And on my board I travel with my pedal train Junior. It's the King of Tone, exactly, this side. I use it way quieter because when I play live, I get the amps a little louder. So the louder the amps are, the more they are overdriving, so the less the pedal needs to do. On my Blues Experience pedal board, I use the Janis Miesnekis, I think it's how it's called. It's one of my favorite overdrives. I use the double standard a lot when I go to play gigs that I only take guitar and amp, and I take the double standard with a battery. Just in case I need more drive, I turn it on and it cleans up really good with the guitar volume, especially the green side. So it's a great pedal. It kind of gets in the realm of distortion. So let's push it into distortion. Oh, let me first show you a thing that the Tube Screamer excels. So if you have a gainy overdrive like the King of Tone, so light overdrive. And you want to go to solo territory, more sustain, more drive a little, more volume. The Tube Screamer after it is a great pedal because it shaves off a little of the bottom end, it boosts the mid-range, makes you be louder, apparently louder. But the King of Tone has the second side, which also already does that. I think it's probably why the King of Tone is so revered and so sought after, because it has two pedals. I love double pedals. I love like the double standard, the King of Tone, the Xotic, ACRC, Osnoy edition. I love double pedals because they give you flexibility in one box. So I really love it. I would love to have a Guedes Miasnekis doubled pedal. That would be perfect. Let's turn the double standard into distortion territory, which means way more drive and not as much peak attack, way more compression. So with this tone, you see I don't have any of the peak attack. If I play lightly, it doesn't react. It's already too distorted. This is the difference between overdrive and distortion. Overdrive is cleanish, but with some hair on it. Distortion is full-on compressed, full-on distorted. Let's move on to the distortion pedals. I have the Gem pedals, Rattler, which is one of my favorite drive pedals too. The Catelyst from Fulltone, a very versatile, very its own thing. And the Distortion Plus. Let's start with the Distortion Plus because it's one of the classics. I like it output at maximum. So you hear it's distorted, big, aggressive. That's what distortion is. The Catelyst has a lot of modes. It can be a clean boost, it can be an overdrive, it can depend on your set it. And it cleans beautifully. It's a good distortion pedal. And the Rattler is just vicious. So this is volume, gain, and tone. But you see, you lose all the interactivity. And I'm going to set them side by side, so don't you despair. This is not a review on each of the pedals. I'm just trying to show you the different characters, different things that different pedals do, and what they are in their categories. So in the distortion, it's a great thing, but I can use the Rattler as an overdrive. Okay, so it's overdriving. The Catelyst can also be that pedal. You just set it to spark and it's a different beast. And I love pedals like this that have a lot of functions, a lot of tones, a lot of options, like you just move a switch and it changes dramatically. The Catelyst is a great pedal, but every distortion pedal, every drive pedal, every fuzz pedal depend a lot on what you use on your guitar, on your playing, on your amps, on how you set your amps. So this is a very hard thing to do, and this is why I don't really know more. I don't really know anymore, but I have a lot of pedals. So this is the distortion thing, the distortion pedals. As you can see, the Distortion Plus was one of the first, but doesn't have a tone, so it's sometimes too bright. But it is a classic, and it's yellow, very beautiful, I love it. Let's move on to the fuzz pedals. I usually describe a fuzz pedal as a sound of an amp blowing up. But a fuzz pedal is way more than that, because it's a lot of distortion, but usually a good fuzz face or tone bender clean really good with the guitar's volume. So this makes the pedal almost the only drive pedal you need, because you set it max and then you use the volume on the guitar to have a lot of different textures. One of my favorite fuzz pedals is exactly the Compenhagen Fuzz, the Russ Effects Compenhagen Fuzz. The Jam Pedals fuzz face is also incredible. And the Red Noise Stone Blender it's a beautiful, beautiful, beautiful pedal. I love the designs of it, and it's a crazy, great sounding pedal. Usually with fuzzes, I set the fuzz at max. It's the way they sound good to me. Sometimes max, and then I back off just a little because sometimes they are too noisy at max. Let's hear. So the Compenhagen. You see what I mean? So it's the Jimi Hendrix thing. It's a man. This is so good, so good. And this is a tone bender, so it has a different mid range. Let's hear a fuzz face. Love it. Let's compare it. Hear the difference. So the Compenhagen is way more mid-rangey, way more focused. The fuzz face is bassy and trebly. It's their characteristics. Two great pedals. They react incredibly to the guitar's volume. Great boutique pedals. Then the Red Noise Stone Blender is a very different beast because it's way more towards the big muff side for me. It's a heavier, it doesn't clean that well with the volume, but it's a heavy, thick, distortion, fuzzy. So it's a pedal for rock. It's a rock pedal. I love it. It's not as vintagey sounding as the Compenhagen or the Jam pedals one, because they are based on vintage circuits. This is more a distortion niche fuzzy, but all the fuzzes have this mooshed sound, especially the fuzz face. Hear all the notes. You don't hear my pick attack at all. While with the red noise pedal, and especially in having the declip, which is kind of mixing a cleanish tone, you hear the pick attack. A great thing with a fuzz face or with the tone bender circuit is that if you take off just a little of the guitar, sometimes it's 9.5, you get back the pick attack. So listen. Man, I love fuzz. I'm a fuzz crazy. It's probably my favorite effect of all time, being that I think my real favorite is the Xvex Fuzz Factory or a Nocta Fuzz, because they both do strange things, but a fuzz faces or this tone blender, any one of these pedals is incredible. It will depend. I will pick and choose one or the other depending on the amp I'm using. So if I'm using an amp that handles a lot of bottom end, I like the fuzz face because it boosts, it makes you have a big tone. If I'm using an amp that is already blown off, the Compenhagen bender is way more focused, way more, you cut through the mix better. Let's mix and match all the four so you can hear how I use it and what's the difference. I have it set the way I usually use gains, from the highest gain to the lowest gain. So the highest gain is the first one, then I'm decreasing gain stages, the pedals that have less gain. So for example, I'm using the fuzz in the first place, and also fuzzes like to be in the first position, then the distortion, then the overdrive, and then the clean boost. Also, I have the second side of the King of Tone as a clean boost, which is a great option. So let's hear it, why I use this. Because if I want to have the fuzz, the Compenhagen fuzz, for example, on, and when I want to make it louder, I just turn on the clean boost in its cleanest setting, but with a boost in volume. Also, a great thing is to use an overdrive after the fuzz. So I can use the King of Tone to tame a little. Listen what happens when I turn on the King of Tone. So all that hairiness, all that brittleness goes away. Sometimes it's a great thing. It's very hard to use a fuzz into a clean Fender amp without it sounding too bright and too harsh. Then, this is why I like to have this order. And the exact same thing, if I have an overdriven Rat, for example, the Rattler, and I have like the basic rhythm tone, and I want to take a solo, I just turn on the Jive And I'm immediately louder because the Jive doesn't compress. But the great thing about the Jive is that it can compress. So I can even add another level of gain. So it's a great one. It's a great one. Then I have my overdrive, which I usually use as my basic overdrive, so it's almost an always-on pedal. I only turn it off when I want real sparkle clean. Or when I want to play big chords like this ones. Because the overdrive will distort it if I have it, even it's quiet. It takes off the sparkle and it takes off the rest. So when I want to play hard and bluesy, I have the overdrive on and it gives me my basic. And if I want to get my overdrive louder for a solo, I have the Jive or the clean boost. Here's the difference. So it allows me to have a lot of stages, a lot of gain stages, and this is important not while playing at home, but very important when playing within a band context, playing with the band. So if the drummer gets louder, I need a little more volume. That's why I need an amp that can answer to this, because if I have an amp that is already compressing, already at its limit, when I turn on the Jive, it will moosh, it will compress, it will distort more, but it won't give me more volume, okay? So this is how I set it, and let's just go through all the pedals in a row so you can hear the difference. Clean tone. So the overdrive and the clean boost basically enhance your tone, enhance the guitar's tone, and the distortion changes a lot. It gives it a lot more mid-range, and the fuzz is a completely different sound on its own. It's an effect sound. Well, that's it. I hope you have liked the show. I hope this has been helpful to you. If you haven't done it yet, please subscribe to the YouTube channel and share it with the world. Leave your thumbs up if you liked the episode. Also, if you want to support the channel, leave a donation in the PayPal or become a patron on my Patreon page. If you want to have some guitar lessons with me, just send me a direct message via Instagram and we'll deal with it from there. I would really like to know your thoughts about overdrive distortion pedal. Are you more an overdrive guy, a distortion guy, a fuzz guy? Are you a clean guy? You don't like any of the pedals? Please let me know in the comments. I answer all the comments, so I will be answering yours too. I hope you like it. We'll see each other next week. Bye bye.